Welcome, my name is Stephanie and I want to thank you for joining me in today's tutorial on how to take a Google slide and make an infographic. Now our infographic is on the Harlem Renaissance. However, an infographic can be made based on any smattering of information you so choose. You pick the theme, you can make it. Our infographic has a series of different kind of text and images that relate back to our topic, and we're going to have 4 modules. At the end, if you could be so kind as to complete the Google form to provide feedback, I will in exchange send to you this Harlem Renaissance Google slide, as well as a corresponding Google form that your students can use to check against the information they learn. You can modify each, change them, and use them as you so desire. So what are our 4 modules about? First, we're going to learn how to take a background image so that it doesn't move, that will unify our slide together in terms of our theme. Secondly, we're going to create what's called hyperdocs. Hyperdocs link our material that's on our infographic back out to material that's on the web. Some cases, YouTube videos, other times audio recordings, biographies, there's just a wealth of information. Lastly, and you just bring it all together into this one go-to source. Thirdly, oftentimes we have students that need to get directions read to them again. They need to hear it one more time. But when they're working in groups, sometimes that can be a little bit hard for you to navigate. So how can you build that sense of independent learning with your students? Well, you can add audio narration. So behind that microphone is action audio explaining today's work that the students can refer back to. Really great for early learners, students across ability levels. And then also sometimes when kids work in groups, the reality is one person hears one thing, another person hears something else, and this is a way for them to check before they come directly to you. Lastly, how do we know the students really understood the material? Well, where it says Harlem Renaissance Artists, we have another kind of hyperdoc. This time we're using text to link to something else. In this case, another Google platform, Google Forms. So when the students are finished exploring the material on here, they're going to go over to Google Forms and then answer a series of questions. I thank you for your time. I appreciate you. And again, please go to that feedback form. Let me know what you think. And then thereafter, I'm going to send this all out to you. Appreciate your time. Thank you. All right, to start, we want to add our background image. So we're going to go to slide. Let's go open up a new slide. So we have a blank slide that's here. We're going to go back to slide and we're going to go to edit master. So for our first title page, I changed that to a background. So we're going to do that and change this one to a background as well. So you can open up another tab and find an image you like. Once you find that image, you can hold it down, hold your mouse down, and then drag and drop into your slide master. You're going to use the corners to reset and resize as needed. I'm going to pull that up here, drag that all the way to the side, and then drag this all the way down. And then we have this really cool image that's going to serve as our background, and I've already given it a title. You rename it as you need to. Okay, when we're done, we're going to close it out. And then notice that we have this image right in here. And what's really cool is no matter what we do, we can't disturb it. Okay, so that's how you set up a background image in Google Slides for your infographic. Okay, so now that we've set our background image, our next step is to make this a hyperdoc, which means content that's on this page is going to link to content outside on the internet. So to start, you're going to put in, let's say, an image. You can do a hyperdoc with text. You could also do a hyperdoc with images. Find the images to be pretty engaging for students. You'll notice that on my sample, I made my shapes into something other than the normal rectangles. And all you have to do that is to go to the crop to shape. So go to crop, there's a down arrow, click shapes, hover over the shape you like. I'm gonna go with this little Pac-Man shape. And then to make it stand out, I want to change the line border that's around the shape. So maybe if I have it at a 4-point, and then give it a really sharp, bright, vibrant color like yellow, it stands out at this point. So for it to be a hyperdoc, it needs to link to some content. You can link to websites, you can link to videos. In this case, I found this really cool video on the Harlem Renaissance. So go to YouTube, I'm clicking share, here's a copy. Going right back over to my image, it's still already linked. I'm sorry, it already has the shape highlighted here. So I'm going to go to Insert, Link, and Control V, Apply. So notice that once this shape is selected, then you're going to see the content here. So if I click off, you won't see it. But if I click on the shape, then I know it's going to bring me to this content. So that's how you create a hyperdoc for your infographic. Okay, so from time to time, the reality of teaching is you're going to have students, for whatever reason, are going to need to hear your questions repeated again, your directions repeated again. Sometimes it could be because they're early learners, new to your class, maybe not used to your routines. But adding audio narration into your slides is going to help you a great deal, save you a lot of time, and also enable them to be more independent in their learning. So to do that, what I like to do is actually kind of hide the audio icon behind pictures. So I'm going to start first by dragging an image directly into my slide. Okay, move that over just a tad bit. Of course, if we're doing this for real, we'll make it even prettier than that. Okay, there are a few different ways in order to do this. One is to go to your Chrome web store, and they actually have extensions that you can add in. Another is to do a Google search, and you're going to look for online voice recorder. And that's going to be, this is one of the options. There are a couple of different ones online. This one is really simple to use. When it pops up, you're going to click on the red microphone. And then just to let you know, my device is going to garble the audio. It's going to give you beautiful, clear audio if you have a better device than me. But mine, okay, here we go. Students, welcome to class. Today you'll be working in small groups. Within your small group, you're going to complete the Harlem Renaissance infographic. Once you finish exploring all the different artists that are presented in the slide, you're going to click on the title. This is going to route you to the feedback form. Our feedback form is going to have questions for you to answer, and please feel free to go back to the different internet resources from the slides. Upon completion of the form, make sure you click Submit, put away your Chromebooks, and then take out your journals. Answer the journal exit ticket, and make sure you have a great day. Any further questions, please see me. Thank you. Click your stop button, and now it's processing. You'll notice that you'll have toggle buttons on the front end and the back end. That's going to show you here. There's a little bit of dead space. It really doesn't start picking up to this point. Let's press play. Students. Okay. So what we can do is we can actually edit it down to about here, and then we could do the same thing on the back end where we pretty much closed it, and you're going to click save. So it's only going to save this little portion of it. Okay, so already saved here. So we're going to go to show in folder. Now I already have my drive open. So I'm going to drag that recording into my drive and plop it in here. All right, so once it's in my folder, I'll be able to go to, okay, let's make sure it's in the folder. I don't see it. Let's go back. Okay, one more time. There it is. Okay, so once it's in the folder, you want to click back over to your slide deck, sorry. So insert your audio. So you have different options that you can insert audio. Here's the audio that we want to insert. Click select. And then when it pops up, it's going to be kind of tiny, and we want to make sure that we resize it so that it's about the size of the directions. So let me just move this out a little bit. All right, awesome. Now I'm going to put this on top of this. You're going to say, well, what was the point? Okay. First thing is that we're actually going to hide it using the adjustments feature. So we're going to click adjustments and then slide where it says transparency over. And now it's so faint, you really don't see it. Okay. Also, keep in mind that by default, for your formatting options, it's going to let you play it on click. So since the students can't see the actual audio icon, you're going to want to type on top of it something like click here or listen here. Otherwise, you could also instead click automatically and then it'll just start playing as soon as that slide loads. Lastly, you'll notice that you have an opportunity to stop on slide change. So if they click to another slide, they're not going to hear your audio. So that's how you use the audio narration tool in order to provide your students independence when working with an infographic. Thank you. Okay. So there is a reality in teaching. That is, students sometimes do what teachers sometimes check. And the absolute opposite applies too. If teachers do not check, sometimes students do not do. So we want to make sure that our students actually have completed the assignment. Once they finished exploring and investigating, we want to link this information back over to a Google Doc to assess what they learned. Okay, so to do that, we created hyperlinks using images. We're going to create a hyperlink using text. So I'm going to put a text box right over here, and I'm going to type out Harlem Renaissance. Okay, that's a little bit small. So I'm going to change the font to make it a little bit more engaging for students' eyes. Change the size to make it larger. And then how about we also change out the color? Let's go back out, go back to it. Okay, highlight. And instead of black text, let's make this yellow. So we did those borders in yellow. And then also to make sure that it really stands out, let's give it a contrast border right behind it. Let's click off, and there it is. Okay, I'm gonna just move it up a smidgen over here into this space. All right, so what are we gonna link this to? We're gonna link this to a form. So if we navigate over here, we see I already have my form up. And how did I get to this section? I'll walk back one more step. Okay, if you go to the send button, it's going to, the dialog box is going to pop up. Automatically, it's going to send it to an email address if you put in an email. All of this information, by the way, can be changed. You can change the subject, you can change the message. But because we're doing a Hyperdoc, we're going to click the link icon. In some cases, you might want to shorten the link. Okay, if your students or someone else, your audience is typing in information, but in this case, they actually have this form link. So you're just going to click copy, and then you go back over to your text, click your text, and you have to make sure that you actually highlight the words. And once the words are highlighted, you're going to go to insert, click link, and you're going to paste in the form link, click apply. You know that you did it correctly. If it actually changes your colors, unfortunately, let's see if we can go back out. Let's go text color yellow. Okay, there you go. But it will have that underline. That underline is going to let us know that there is a link that's associated with those words. Okay. By default, it will change those words to blue once you click on it. So we're going to click on the form, and it's actually going to show us the student view or the recipient view of your form. So whatever you created, the students will see it from their end. Okay, and that's it. So that's how you provide opportunities for your students to show what they learned in this infographic experience.